The woman only scratched the patient's skin, but, unexpectedly, the wound healed automatically on the spot. Meanwhile, the little white mouse beside her suddenly died an inexplicable death. She walked out of the operating room, took out that bracelet that could transfer pain, and her best friend instantly turned pale, desperately explaining, it was all a coincidence. But in the next second, without saying a word, the woman dissected the white mouse and took out a weird brain tube from its body. And this brain tube was exactly the one that had been taken out of her own brain back then. It turned out that the woman had been reborn. In her previous life, it was her best friend who used this pain transfer method to make her die a miserable death in the operating room. On the contrary, her best friend became a highly praised miracle doctor with this superpower. Being reborn once, the woman was just watching TV at home when suddenly she had a splitting headache. Helpless, she had to ask the doctor to remove the extra brain tissue in her body. After the operation, the woman was surprised to find that as long as she ate spicy food, her best friend would have severe abdominal pain. Later, enlightened by a Taoist priest, the woman specially went to the orphanage, and it was here that she discovered that her best friend was actually the biological child of her adoptive parents. At this moment, the woman suddenly realized and finally understood the ins and outs of everything. Subsequently, the woman told the truth in front of everyone. This brain tube was bought by her best friend from the foreign black market. Once implanted into a living organism, that organism would become a carrier for pain transfer. Her best friend retorted on the spot, claiming that the woman was slandering her. In response, the woman calmly said that the reason she had extra brain tissue in her head was that when she was in a coma with a high fever, her adoptive parents deliberately sent her to the clinic run by her best friend. It was at that time that they took the opportunity to implant the brain tube into her body, and from then on, she was forced to endure the endless pain transferred to her. Immediately afterwards, the woman dropped another bombshell. Her adoptive parents were not good people at all, but criminals who abducted her. Back then, it was they who deliberately swapped her life with her best friend's. As soon as she finished speaking, the woman's assistant immediately took out photos as evidence. The woman continued, saying that her biological parents had given her best friend the best growth resources, but her best friend was insatiably greedy, coveting the huge amount of US dollars in her family's property. She even went so far as to swap the medicine of her biological parents, which eventually led to their death from incurable diseases. After learning the truth, the crowd on the scene unanimously accused the best friend of being vicious and cruel. Just then, the police arrived in time and clearly stated that the best friend and her adoptive parents were involved in multiple crimes and must accept investigation immediately. Seeing this, the hospital director panicked and quickly announced the dismissal of the best friend on the spot, trying to distance himself from the incident. Unexpectedly, the police then added that the director, because of having an improper relationship with his subordinate and being suspected of embezzlement and bribery, also needed to accept investigation. The best friend completely collapsed and panicked. In her desperation, she even picked up a scalpel beside her and held the woman hostage.